Hello buddy, it's Edwina from my craft orchard. How are you? It's that time of year where I set my New Year goals and I set up quarter 1. Now, I know what you're saying. You're going, Edwina, it's almost February and you're only now setting up your goals. There is a reason. The truth is, I actually don't set my goals up until February, and quarter 1 is the beginning of my February, and there is a reason for that, and let me explain. If you've watched any of my Kanban videos before, you'll know I've explained this before, but for anybody who's new, let me re-explain what's going on. During December, which is traditionally the time that you start thinking about your new year, and you get all your new planners and all of those sort of things, I am rammed. I have birthdays, this Christmas. I am worn out because we've just come to the end of my busy time for my business, and come the beginning of January, all I want to do is curl up in a ball and go to sleep. Also, here in the UK, it's dark and it's miserable and the weather's bad, and who wants to go out and do stuff and be motivated to go out? It's just not going to happen, and I know this because this happened the last couple of years. So I evaluated the time of year, and I said to myself, do you know what? You can start planning at any time, and this goes for you as well. If the beginning of the year is not a good time for you to plan or do a yearly plan, don't do it then. Do it when you're fresh. I know come March I'm going to have that spring step. I'm going to have lots more energy and that sort of thing as the weather gets better. Some people start their year in September because they're academics, and that's when their school year work. Or if you are a student, maybe September's a better time to start your year, something like that. You don't have to start on the 1st of January. Plus, my house is still full of chocolate, so going on a diet's not a good idea. Exercising, it's just not going to happen. The weather's awful, I don't want to go to the gym or anything like that. So to me, February is a much better time. It's given me time to think. It's given me time to play with my new planners that I did set up, and sort of really get a feel for what I need in terms of more long-term projects and long-term planning. Last year, I used a big happy planner. And I have a whole video on how I set that up and that sort of thing. So I'm not going to go into how I've set this one up because it's almost the same. I am going to do a flick through just to show you each section and what I'm going to be using each section for, and I'm going to do a little bit of planning with you, sort of so you can get sort of a feel for how this process works. So this is a classic happy planner that I bought last year, and it was actually the recovery planner, but I really like this cover, and I put some metal sort of a rosy gold sort of rings on it, and I've just used that cover page, even though it says recovery page. I am 2022. I like it. I've just got a piece of paper in there just in case I wanted to jot things down. But what I've done is, because the back of this has got 2022 on, I've then just put a quote which I've paper clipped onto the top there. Now, this first whole section are the Kanban boards. So traditionally on a Kanban board you have a done section sort of this end, and then you put your projects on the left and you work left to right. In the project you put it on a post-it note or a card or something, and then it's sort of in a waiting area, so you know what's got to be done. It then moves into the in progress, needs more action, and then it goes into the done section. Well, what I tend to do is I've sort of condensed that down into a notebook basically into a planning system. So I have a done page. So when everything's done, all of the post-it notes will get put onto there. And then I have a section for each of my categories of life. I am going to run through how I came to decide what each of these is going to be. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. So I have and they are, as you can see, all different colours, and these are my colour coding. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I colour code each area. So Daisycraft is my online business. My Craft Orchard is this channel, my social media. I have a home section, and the home section will also include family, so it's sort of family and home. And then I have my personal section, which is things like my personal finance, projects, my craft ideas, that sort of thing. And also on there I'm going to be putting my writing. Now last year I had a whole section for my novel that I was writing. It is an ongoing project, I'm still doing it. However, I've now sort of incorporated it back into my personal section rather than have it its own, because I don't have time to devote to just one project, big project like that. So what I've then done is I've put a piece of scrapbooking card, which, as you can see, it's bigger. It actually goes, these are the Happy Planner dividers here, and I've actually made them so they're bigger, so that it's a complete different section. So all the Kanban boards are in the front, and then we go on to the yearly planning section. So again, I've just used the 2023 from this original Happy Planner. And then I've put a yearly overview, and I've put loads of post-it notes. You'll see lots of post-it notes on these pages, and it's just as I'm setting this up, just a reminder of what I'm going to be using each of these things for. So I've got a yearly overview. I've got a page here which I'm going to write out roles and responsibilities for, which we are going to fill out in a moment. I've then got a couple of pages for brain downloads, brain dump, whatever, and I have made a start. I've got a year each month. I've put again onto a Happy Planner, just used an old sheet which I've blocked out the dates for. I've then got a whole year each month, and then I put projects down here and when I'm going to do them. And so that's sort of like the yearly. I'm going to go through all this and show you how I'm using this in a moment. Then we go, and as you see, I've got another piece of scrapbooking card, and I've actually reinforced this edge with some Scotch tape so it doesn't curl and gives it that sort of like almost plasticky feel, just to give it a bit of strength. I've then got my quarterly planning, so I've got February, March and April. I've printed out that off. I've got a Wheel of Life. And then I've got again another Happy Planner page for February, March and April. I'm going to show you what I'm using that for in a moment. I did put that in. It is a goals for the week. I don't tend to do weekly goals because I've moved the post-it notes. But I put that in there just as an example to say, well, if you haven't got any of these sort of pages from the Happy Planner, if you've got something like this from out of one of your systems or something, you could use that instead. And then the next section is the monthlies, and I've actually got a divider for each month, but there's not a lot under them because I intend to do monthly planning as well. So the back of this divider's obviously got a calendar on, so I've used a bit of scrapbook card just to cover that up, and I just need to put a paper clip on that, so as I open it the whole thing goes. I've got a bit of scrap paper for downloading, and then I've got project sheets, and I've drawn this out myself. I've also put some extra blank pages and bullet, dot grid and lined for any if I've got more than one, but for today I'm just going to do one. And then again, every quarter I've put one of these Happy Planner pages, and they just, here I've got writing on here, so I put a piece of scrapbooking in, which will be when I get to that month, paper clipped, so I don't see what's written on there, and it's that bit of a distraction. But I really liked these monthly dividers out of this planner. So I decided, you know what, I like it. I like the vibe that this is giving me. If it comes to the end of the year and I'm not feeling the sort of beigey, I want something a bit brighter, then I can just swap them out for some other happy planner. And I can change the cover and all that sort of thing. It's the system we're sort of looking at. Okay, let's go back to the yearly then. So I first of all I've got a yearly overview. Now what I've done here is I've marked off any big events. I've had a think about the next 12 months starting in February to January, and I'm thinking, right, what is happening in my life? Do I have any weddings? Do I have any christenings? Have I got any big projects for work that I need to be thinking about? Have I got any big vacations and holidays planned? And the truth is, I haven't. Not this year. I've got a wedding next year, but not this year. So all I've done so far on here is I've marked off the half terms and the breaks that my son has. So I've put the school holidays on there because the school holidays really affect my productivity in respect to when my son's at home, I don't get as much done because I want to be playing with him. I want to be taking him out. I want to be visiting family and that sort of thing. So the time I have to spend on projects isn't as much. And also the day changes. If you're a mom of school age children, then the whole day from holiday to school day completely changes. So it's just sort of being aware that these things are coming up. So that's the first thing I've got in there. It's the awareness of this is the big picture. This is what I'm looking at for the next 12 months. Then I've got the page that says roles, responsibility and work. So this is where I'm going to write who am I? What is it that I have to do in my life? What is it that I'm responsible for? So in my personal life, I'm a mom. Okay, so I'm a mother, I'm a wife, a daughter, an aunt, can't spell, I'm a sister, I'm a great aunt. Okay, in my work life, I am a director of a company. Company director, plus all of the jobs that go with running my own business. So I do the admin, I do orders, accounting, that sort of thing. In my other work life, which is this one, so I've put work, I could put Daisy Craft there, and then I could put my craft orchard here and write out the roles and responsibilities I have. I'm a filmmaker, I suppose you could call me that. I'm a YouTuber. I have social media responsibilities such as my Instagram and my Facebook. What other things? You know, this isn't a quick process, this. I'm doing this just as a bit of a quick example to show you what sort of things need to go on here. And this is my initial sort of brain, what am I? This could take you half an hour. You already know, you're already happy with what you are and what your responsibilities you've got. This might take a couple of days. You might fill this out like I'm doing now, put it away, and in 2 days' time come back to it and go, oh yeah, well what about this? Oh, well, what about that? And I did this, that sort of thing. I'm a craft teacher. That's the one that's just come up. You see, as I was talking to you, something else has popped in. I'm a home owner. So all the things that need to be done for that. So that's the sort of idea of this, and go through what are your roles, what are your responsibilities, what is it that you have to do yourself. And then you take this information and you think about how you can split this information up into different categories to make your life easier. So you can say, right now I'm thinking about work, and because I'm now thinking about work, what categories are within my work day. If you have two businesses like I do, I have two separate businesses. If you are a student with a job, you might have student as one category and you might have work as another category. If you're retired, you might decide to split this out into various responsibilities for a club. You might be a club secretary or admin person or something like that for the club or for a church. You might have responsibilities there, and you might want to say, well, this is my home, this is stuff I have to do for myself, and this is my work, which is, you know, volunteering, student life, home, you know, a mom, retiree, grandparents, that sort of thing. And you've taken all of that by actually identifying what you are, who you are, and your responsibilities. So that's what I did. What I've then done is I went through, and I have made a start. I haven't written it in the book. I've just put this on a scrap piece of paper. I've then sort of gone through and said, right, okay, so this year, what are the other things? I know there are business things I've got to do. I know that my home is a project of its own already, which is an ongoing thing. What are the other things I want to be doing? So within my crafts, I've got a wedding next year, and I'm going to make a garter for my new niece-in-law, I suppose you could call it. My nephew's getting married, so I've got to make her a garter, but that isn't a 10-minute job. That's a month, 2, 3, 4 months, because I'm actually going to be designing it as well as making it. So that's something I need to be thinking about this year. I always make scarves for teachers, so again, I can't leave that till the week before Christmas. I need to be thinking of that sort of like within the year. And by putting these sort of things in, I've put crafts and hobbies because that's where I started. These are the extra things I want to be doing. And again, these are sort of craft projects are longer things. They take 3 months, 4 months sometimes. Some of them take a bit more thinking about and planning. You know, think of the big picture. This is the big picture thinking, not just the what am I doing today picture. So there's a section there for all of that to be written down. Again, this isn't a quick job. This is maybe sit down with a cup of coffee, write what you think, and then go and have a conversation with your husband or your son or your family, and say, right, so what are we doing this year, and then come back to this and write all that down. Then you use this information to decide what you're going to do next. So that's what this page is about. This is the yearly page. I actually made a note there because I was looking at this morning that I need to schedule more my craft orchard and home stuff, because what I've actually got on each of these little individual post-it notes here are, in essence, daisy craft, family, and writing, basically, this big writing project. So what I did is I put NaNoWriMo in November, I did Camp Nano in April, and I've got Camp Nano in July. They're big writing events. I think I can get writing done. So that's going to be sort of like a main project on those months, which is why I put it there. I also have VAT returns to do for the business. That takes me a good chunk of time each quarter, so I have to be aware that that's something I have to do. I also have to do a corporation VAT tax return, so again a big chunk of time, which means if I'm concentrating on that, I can't do anything else. That's another reason January was a total washout, because I have a VAT return, and until that's in, until that's processed, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not thinking about anything else, because it's a big project. It needs all of my attention. So I've put things on here like February, this next new February, I put New Year reset. So that's things like going around the home and doing that bit of tidying up and planning, going to each room, saying what needs to change in here, what can I do, when am I going to do it, that sort of thing. Then March I've got a bit of self-care. Because there was a space there, I hadn't got anything else planned in. I thought, well, that's a good place for a bit of self-care. And then obviously April, July, October and January I've got things like my VAT, Preptober in October, Camp Nano, summer planning in July because Harry will be off during August for summer holidays, which is what's already on my big calendar. Remember, take stuff from your big calendar and move it on to here, because you're being aware that that's what's happening during the year. You've got no time in that particular, so August Harry will be off. There's no point putting lots of projects in there because they just won't get done. And so that's what I've done. I've gone through each month and I've sort of said, that's definitely happening. I could do, this is what else needs to happen, and when could I do it throughout the year. This isn't set in stone. This is sort of a overview of when I could do stuff, when I need to be aware of stuff and things I could do. And because they're on post-it notes, I could swap and change these around, no problem at all. But like I say, when I was looking at this, I need to put more Minecraft projects on here. And I've only got one home, really, sort of maybe 2 homes. I mean, ideally, I have sort of, because I've got 4 sections and there's 4 quarters. So I've got something in each quarter for each section, if that makes sense. So that was that. And then this next one, which was the year, and I'm writing down the projects down here. Again, it was just one of those sort of just having a look to see what projects I know I want to do already, and to sort of write down how many I would plan and then move stuff around. So for instance, I put the writing in April, July, October, November. Home and family will definitely be in December, but if you look, there's nothing else for home in there. So already going this way across here, I've only got one home, so I need to put something else to keep the whole life balance going, as it were. Family, I've got 4 in, so I really, those are focused. Family, obviously family is important, you need to be doing that every day really, but these are the sort of more focused areas of the year. There's no self-care whatsoever. Don't look after myself. Minecraft Orchard, I've sort of put in some big things. So for instance, July will be 1 book July, so there'll be extra work that I'll be doing around that. I run a craft club, and I know we'll probably have an event in March and around October, because we do September onwards we do Christmas and Poppy Appeal and that sort of thing. So again, around about September I will be planning all of that. And then obviously with the Daisy Craft, I've got corporation and VAT, and already know when that's going to happen because there's already dates. So then if you run down this way, I've got 2 already in for January, 1 for February, 2 March, April, 4 in July. So really, I don't want to be putting any more projects in July, because there's 4 already. I'm going to be rammed. August we already know is a family time, which is why that was there, and obviously Christmas was family and home. So that's a sort of idea of this, is sort of put your projects down, what areas, and then look at the year, and then look down the month to see how many projects you've already got. And then under here you can put, say, well, for instance, June, there's nothing in June. So I said I want to do some more home stuff. So I could say, right, okay, so June I'll concentrate on the home. Here we go. I'll put June as a home month. February, there's not much going on. So let's say I'll put I could put that as another home month, as a bit of a reset. So more home, and I want to put some more My Craft Orchard in. So let's have a look. July's totally out. June again, there's not much going on. So maybe we'll make June a My Craft Orchard type of month as well. Oh, I've just put in craft club, doesn't matter. So that's the sort of thing I was sort of thinking. Limit yourself to how many you think you can get done per month. Yeah, this is why you look at the year. That's why you look at your responsibilities, your roles, to make sure that everything's covered, that you are being where you are being intentional with your planning and getting you on the projects that need to be done. So it's important to have a conversation with your husband and your partner and your kids and all that sort of stuff. What I've then done is I've gone down to quarterly planning. So I've looked at my whole year. What I'm now going to do is I'm just going to look at the next 3 months. So I've printed out a 3-month planner. And I've actually used a company called Calendar Quick. I think I paid £12 for the year, and I can print off as many calendars as I want. There are free versions as well, but if you want a more this sort of calendar, you have to pay the £12, and I didn't think that was very much money, to be honest. So this is now me focusing down to the next 12 weeks. So the first thing obviously we're going to do for that is have a look. I'm going to take it out and I'm going to go back and I'm going to have a look back at the 12 weeks. So start at the beginning. Here we go. Have I got any holidays coming up? So we've got half term in February. So I'm just going to put a line across there. I always do the weekend before the half term as well. So already we've got something going on there, and we've got Easter in April, and that's from that weekend there, and he'll be off for 2 weeks. So already I've got sort of 3 weeks out of my 12 that are going to be taken up with family time and that sort of thing. My next one I'm going to have a quick look at then is, what did I sort of set for February, March and April? And what I could do is I could actually take these off and I could put them onto there like that. Okay. And then here, February, I said home and family. Well, I've already got my family sort of things in. March, I've got craft club. So let me make a quick note of that. I've got loads of post-it notes here. So we want to do craft club stuff. And I also said about the corporation tax. I'm just going to write March there. Corp tax in March, and then April we have writing. That. And we want to do, because it's the end of the year, we want to do more yearly planning for my business. Okay. Can you see how all this is coming together then? So, with that in mind, I know what sort of things I need to be doing, what sort of projects I'm going to do, what time I've got, and I will come back to this in a minute once I've done my Wheel for Life, which is here, because then that'll give me a bigger picture of things I want to work on. So I don't know if any of you have done a Wheel for Life. This to me is quite a personal thing, and which is why I haven't filled it out, but I wanted to show you. So I have used one of these, which is a We Are Memory Keepers, to sort of use it so it can divide it up, and I've also used a protractor to draw out, and I will actually go over this in pen. It's all in pencil at the moment. So as you can, I've got 12 sections. You don't need 12. You can choose what you like for a Wheel for Life. There is a lot of information, there is a lot of examples of how to fill this out, how to use it, but the basics is you start there with 1, and this is 10, and then you would put your the element in here, and you say to yourself, right, at this moment in time, how do I feel about this element? So how do I feel about my home? Between 1 and 10, is it good, being 10, brilliant, 10, or really bad, being 1? And then you give yourself a score. So let's say my home, because I know there's a lot of decluttering and sort of stuff like that, I'm going to sort of give it a 4, I think. So I would go in there and put a 4 in there, and then I would put in here, the examples would be things like, I put my home in there, personal finance, health and fitness, which would also be self-care type things. I put one for Daisy Craft, one for My Craft Orchard, YouTube, friends and family, I can't remember all of them. But those are the sort of things, and the reason I put 12 is because I can then say, right, this month, which is going back to this, I'm looking at a New Year reset, and we already know that comes under the home section, so I know I'm going to be working on the home, so that's great. So what I could do there is I say, right, well, that section's home, and then as I go through the year, I'm going to put a month all the way around and say, this is what I'm working on, and I've worked on every element during the year. The whole point of this is to give yourself a snapshot of where you think your life, it's a personal thing, no one's going to judge you, this is for your own benefit, okay? You don't have to do this, but it's something I do. I've done sort of beginning of last year, and I didn't do it the end of last year, and I think that's probably why I went sort of a bit off to where I wanted my planning to be. So I will go around, fill all of those sections in, give myself a mark. Now the whole premise of this then is you choose the low score and you improve them. So that's where you start. You choose the low score and you improve them. What I'm suggesting you do is choose a low score to work on, because it might take you all year or it might take you a few months, but choose a low score, but also be aware of what else is going on during these 3 months or during the year. There's no point saying, oh, my garden's a total mess and I need to work on it, when there's 6 foot of snow because you're in the middle of winter. It's not an ideal time for working on your garden. However, March, April, May is. That's a perfect time, or the autumn is a perfect time for working on your garden. So those are the sort of things I want you to sort of consider. So once I've done that and I've decided that, yeah, home is a low score, so I'm definitely going to be working on that. I've got my snapshot of where I am, and then come next quarter I will do this again. I only do this per quarter, and then I can see where I've improved, and did I move that from a 4, did I move that up to a 6 maybe? Is it still a 4? Well, if it's still a 4, then I need to be more proactive. This really needs more attention. I've then separated this one into my months. So, and I will come into this at the beginning of the month. So we're at the beginning of February, so I'm going to fill these in. Now, what are the top 3 things I need to be looking at? What am I doing? What needs my focus? So obviously the first one is going to be home, and I'm actually, because home is pink, so I'm going to put home in there. So that's number 1. We've already established that from a Wheel of the Year. We've already decided that I'm going to do a New Year reset. March, we've already decided is going to be self-care. Now, I would normally do this at the beginning, but I'm going to fill these out now just to show you. Self-care is a green because it's personal. So that's going to be my top priority for March. And then I've got 2 already in for April. So the first one will be the VAT return. The second one will be Daisy yearly goals, yearly planning. And the third one will be Camp Nano. That's NaNoWriMo, so National Write a Novel in a Month. Okay. So already these boxes are filling up quite nicely. So what else am I going to do in February? Let's have a think. So I've already decided my home needs an update. I'd like to do more planning. My content planning isn't quite where I want it. I want to have a look at my YouTube and sort of improve my videos and stuff. So I'm going to make YouTube a large goal for February. And then I might leave that one, and the reason I'm only going to put 2 in, first of all, there's nothing jumping out at me, there's nothing going, this has got to be done. And secondly, if you have a look, I've got a whole week of half term, so I'll be using that for family time and spending time. Maybe we go on holiday, I don't know, nothing's been decided, you know, so allow myself that third one as just sort of a, maybe just concentrate on 2, and that's what feels right. That's sort of what I'm thinking. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my goal sheet here. Now I've just written this out. You don't have to. You can get printed goal sheets. You could go on Word. You could do this on the computer. It's totally up to you. So let's start. I'm gonna concentrate on home. So the title of this project would be Home Reset, wasn't it? Okay, the start date is going to be Feb 2023. I'm not putting an end date because I do know for a fact that this isn't an overnight success. This is going to take me quite a number of months to do this. Okay. So the next question is, I'm going to ask myself why. Now this is something that David Allen says in his Getting Things Done. Why? What is the possible outcome if this was completed, this whole project was completed? How would you feel? What would it look like, basically? So the reason is, why am I doing it? So I am doing a home reset because my home is too cluttered. There are things I don't want or need. and Harry has grown out of. So I've still got baby clothes and that sort of thing in a wardrobe that's, you know, just stuffed. So it needs to be emptied, and we need to sort of make room for other things. So the next question is how would I achieve this? So there are a couple of ways that I could have a go at this decluttering. I could watch things like the Home Edit program, or I could rewatch Marie Kondo read the books on how to do it. I do know that there's a 30-day declutter, a 30-day bag challenge, where you take a bag out of the house for 30 days. So there's, I can't remember what it's called, 30-day, I'm going to call it a 30-day bag challenge. So I've had a go at that before, and I think I got to 20 bags. So that was quite good. So there's a 30-day bag challenge, so I could do that. I could do what Fly Lady suggests and do 15 minutes a day. Tidying, decluttering, removing things. Removing and sorting. So there's a couple of ideas. So I could do 15 minutes a day removing and sorting, and remove 30 bags, so 1 bag a day for the month. Okay, I've then got a section for notes and brain download and anything else. So this is when you sort of, particularly for the home, it's having a conversation with hubby and my son and saying, right, how are we going to do this? Is there any particular area I want to concentrate on first, and that sort of thing. So that's sort of that, oh, I've had this idea, or let's watch this video, or whatever. So that's an area there for you to write that down. Then I've turned it over, and I've got a set of tasks and steps, a section there, and then milestones. So what I'm going to do today is, what is the first milestone? So for me, it would be to sort all my clothes out. I have, for some reason, I have more clothes than storage space, so I need to get rid of some clothes. I need to reorganise the storage I do have to get those clothes in. So that would be my first milestone. So reorganise storage space for clothes. So that's really, I suppose, that would go actually as the task, because the milestone would be to have a clear bedroom with no clothes on show. Yeah. Can you see what just happened? I started thinking about this, and what actually happened is I put a task as opposed to the actual milestone. That's the milestone, to have a clear bedroom with no clothes. Reorganising the storage so that there is space for the clothes I have is the task. Okay? I don't know if this is because I'm trying to make a video at the same time that I'm doing this, or my brain just wasn't working properly. It could be. So that's one of the tasks. So to reorganise. Another task would be to sort the clothes into winter and summer. And another one, remove old, non-fitting and unwanted. Give to charity. Yeah. See how this is going? Once I've done all that, and I've written out the projects, again, like I say, this isn't an overnight sort of thing. I'm then going to take my post-it notes. Now, if you notice, I have pink for home, orange for my craft orchard, green for personal. I couldn't get any purple ones. I tend to use blue for writing, so I'm actually going to use this one for Daisy Craft. This is a peachy salmon one that came in the pack. It's not ideal. I'd rather have purple ones, but you know. So on my home post-it notes then, I'm now going to write out these. So the first task would be sort clothes into winter and summer. Because I'm now writing fast, I can't read it very well. I'll have to go give clothes to charity. You get the picture. I'm only going to do 2. So they're all going to be pink. Writing will be blue. My craft orchard. I'm then going to come back to my board. The project page will sit under the February tab, because I know that's the project I'm working on this month. I'm then going to come back to the front of my planner, which is where my boards were. And under the pink tab, on the pink page, I'm going to put these. Like that. Okay. So it's the beginning of the week. I open this up and I go through each board to see what I can do, what tasks can I do. I already know what my appointments are. I already know what other commitments I have, and what the big projects are for this. So if I've got a big project of my home, what can I do off my home, because that's my main project for this month, this week. So for instance, this week I could sort my winter. So I'm going to take that post-it note. I haven't got my big planner, but let's say this was my planner, and I'm going to put that, let's find the right week. Let's say it's this week, it's not, but let's say it's this, and then I'm going to put that into my planner like that. So as I'm going through my week, I can keep seeing this and go, oh yeah, I've got my 10 minutes to do. I mean, you could even write a post-it note that says 10 minutes per day tidying or decluttering. And then you could put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on there. And you could write 4 of those out, so you'd have 4 on that page. And then each week you could take one off and you can put it on your week to say you need to do this 10 minutes. And then when you've done Monday, you cross Monday off. When you've done Tuesday, you cross Tuesday off. Does that make sense? Now, let's say it comes to the end of the week. I've done my 10 minutes each day. Fabulous. And because I did that, I also did that. I'm going to now take these post-it notes all the way to the front onto my done page. Like that. I tend to, actually, I start at the bottom. It's easier. Like that. And what I tend to do is I put pink in a line, I'll put Daisy Craft in a line, and I'll have all the colours in their separate areas on that page. Come to the end of the quarter, this page will then be full. There will probably be some post-it notes left on these pages. if that's the case, I will, when I reset my quarter, and I am going to go this, I'll do another video at the end of this quarter to show you what I've achieved and how this has been working for me. But what I will do is I'll go through each of the post-it notes that are left on each of these, and I'll say, is this still relevant? Am I still wanting to do this? Am I able to do this during this next quarter with the commitments that I know I've already got? That sort of thing. And so I'll do a complete review on each of these. You might find as you go through, oh, actually I did that. It didn't get moved off this page into the planner. You just did it automatically as part of doing something else. So you'll take that off and you'll put it on the done. And this gives you a nice big picture of, wow, look how much I've done this month. How much have I done this quarter? Wow, this is amazing. It gives you that momentum to sort of achieve things. I hope this helps. I hope this has given you an idea of how to set your own sort of Kanban system up. I hope this really has sort of made you think about how you project plan and what the big thinking is around project planning, and not just the today, this month type things. I will do a follow-up at the end of the quarter just to show you what I've achieved and how this whole planner, this has just been set up for this year. Things might change. I might put some different forms in as I need them and all those sort of things. This is what happens when you have a planner. Everything moves, you know, and changes. So I do hope this has given you an idea. I hope it's inspired you to go and have a deeper look at your projects, your roles and responsibilities and that sort of thing. If you have any questions, please comment below. Please give this video a thumbs up, hit the like button, because it really does help my channel. And as you see, one of my projects for this quarter is to sort of improve my channel, and by you liking my video, that will help me. Thank you. Also make sure you subscribe, or get your friends to subscribe to see more of this sort of thing, and if you want the update, you definitely won't miss it if you have subscribed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.